Hello, and welcome to episode 38 of the She.Must.Knit podcast. My name is Erin, and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys had a great week. We've had a really busy week. We are leading up to the holidays. Today was Avery's last day of school. She is now officially on Christmas break. Christmas is just a few days away. We basically just have the weekend and then Monday, so I have been running around, it seems like every day, trying to get all that last minute stuff done. But yeah, I hope your holiday prep is going really well too. I'm excited. It goes by so fast and then the day is done, so I'm just trying to enjoy every little minute. We still have some things I want to do before Christmas Day comes. I want to do some baking this weekend, and maybe we have to do a little bit of shopping tomorrow. So yeah, we still have some things to do, but otherwise I've just been enjoying this time and trying to get some crafting done. So I actually did get a few things done this week. I have 3 finished objects, I only have one to show you, but I did finish 3 things. And then I have some work on my advent project. So I did make a change like I talked about last week. But yeah, I've just been working on my advent projects and I'm really enjoying them. So let's get started. I've made some tea. It's a little bit later in the day today, so I have an herbal tea. Dennis stayed home from work today, so he was in the house. And I didn't want to record, and plus I was trying to finish one of my projects. But he's out now, he's doing his roughing, and so I have a few moments. Avery's in bed, I have a quiet house, but yeah, it's a little bit later, so I don't want to be drinking coffee. So I have some herbal tea. I think this one was, I'm trying to remember because it was part of one of my swap boxes for my advent calendars. I think it's white cranberry bark or something. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, white cranberry bark, and I think it was from David's Tea, and yeah, I haven't had this one before, so. That will be really, really nice to take me into the evening as I wind down for bedtime. So, what do I have? I have, like I said, 2 finished objects. I think I'm going to start with the ones that I don't have to show you. I talked last week about how I was trying to make Avery's teacher a gift for Christmas, and I was working on some mitts. And if you've been watching my Vlogmas, you might have seen little snippets of my progress on those. But I was making some mitts for her teacher, and then if I had time, I was going to use the same yarn and make a cowl with it. And I did. I finished them. I finished both mitts. I was able to line them with fleece, and then I was able to do a cowl to go with it. So I'm going to pop in a picture here. There's not much to say about them because the yarn is a yarn from my deep, deep basement stash that I don't know. It's an unidentified mystery yarn, but it was nice and thick, so I knew it would be a fast knit, and it's a chenille yarn, which tends to be very nice and warm and snuggly, and definitely not. I didn't have to worry about any sensitivities or anything like that. So she brought them to school today, and I got a nice little note home. So I think she liked them. Hopefully they fit her. Hopefully they keep her warm for yard duties and stuff like that. But yeah, I finished those in time. Now, I did not end up making anything for her bus drivers. I just didn't have the time, and I didn't want to stress myself out about it. So they got some local cookies and a little bit of hot chocolate, so I'm sure they will appreciate that just the same. And then my other project that I finished this week, I actually finished today. Since I had to wait for Dennis to not be in the house, I had a little bit extra time. And yeah, I finished Avery's sweater. The sweater that I wanted to finish for her for Christmas is all done, and I am so excited. I just have to block it. I do want to block it because it is kind of crinkly and it's kind of misshapen. You know how garments can be if they're fresh off the needles, and so I do want to block it, but I think I do have time for that. And so here it is, and this is the Little Miss Charming, and yeah, I think it turned out really, really cute. I hope what I'm seeing on screen, it's really blowing out, and you can't see the cables very well. I'm hoping it might not be as bad once it comes across online, but yeah, so you can see there's these 2 cables that go down the front, and they spread out as you go down, and then the same cable is taken down the sleeves there. So it is a top down, and I had mentioned before that the construction was a little bit different than what I'm used to. When you split for the armholes, instead of doing like a raglan shaping where you have a whole bunch of stitches on your needles that you take off, you're only taking off about 6 stitches for the cable, and then you're making, you're knitting down the front and down the back, making your armhole, and then picking up around and carrying that cable down across the sleeve. So I am really, really happy with this. I think it's going to be really, really cute on her. I'm hoping the length will be what I want it to be. I want this to be kind of a really cozy, loose, oversized sweater that's going to look really cute with leggings. And even though she does know that I'm working on a sweater for her, I still wanted it to be kind of a surprise, like have it kind of put out of her mind, so I didn't want to try it on her. So I ended up grabbing a fleece hoodie that she has that I think when she wears it, it is kind of a little bit longer on her and a little oversized. And I based my measurements on this. So the length of this is at least as long as that hoodie. I might have made it just a little bit longer. But I am so happy with this, and I am so happy that I was able to use this yarn. I do have a little bit of it left. It's this yarn here, and I picked this up probably about 2 years ago on a yarn crawl, and I had 10 balls of this, and I was like, oh, Avery loves pink, this will be great to make something for Avery, and then I never made anything with it, but I'm really happy with how it worked for this project. I think this was the perfect project for that yarn. So I still have a little bit of it, but I could easily down the road, if she needs a new hat, I think I have about 3.5 balls of it, I could easily make her a new winter hat with that or something else. So I'm very pleased with that finished project. So yeah, the only other things I have to share with you are progress on my Advent knitting. And I think I will start with the ones that I have not changed, and then I will show you the one that I have changed. It's a completely different project now. So yes, let's start with my mitered cozy memory square blanket. And I have added, I've been getting back to that. I was kind of focusing on my other projects for a little bit, put this one aside, but I really want to try and get all my 2018 project yarns into this blanket before the end of the year, so I do have to at least work on this a little bit. So I think the last time I showed you, I had finished putting in this yarn here, which was from a pair of socks that I made for my brother's girlfriend, and now I have added in these 3 yarns. And these 2 here are from that little guy right there. So his main color, and then one of the colors in his little sweater. The blue, I'm not sure if I used it all up or I might have used it in something else. It wasn't in my little scrap bin, so I didn't worry about it. But yeah, those 2 yarns are from him. And then this yarn here is from my passerine hat. So the hat that I did with the birds and the color work, that was in one of my earlier episodes. So this is the green, the yarn that I used for the birds. Yeah, so and that finishes a row. So now I'm going to be casting on stitches and moving 1 row up and working my way across. And I know I have enough yarns for that, so hopefully I can get at least 1 more row. I will be happy if I can get 1 more row. Depending on how the Christmas break goes, maybe I can get 2 rows in. I know Dennis said today that he is going to be home until January 2nd. I think. He might be working from home some of those days, but he is going to be home, which is going to totally throw my schedule off whack because I'm not used to being around I'm not used to being around my family 24/7. So yeah, I was actually talking with Avery when she went to bed today, and she was talking about how much she was looking forward to being home for Christmas vacation because she'll get to spend all this extra time with her family, and I was just like, just remember, Mommy needs some quiet times or else I'm going to get grumpy, right? Right, so we'll see how that goes. The first week is usually fine. It's the second weeks that we start to drive each other a little crazy, but I have high hopes. We have games, we have activities. We'll see how that goes. So that's my cozy memory blanket. And then the other one I brought out, so I had showed you this last week as well. My Granny Stripes blanket that I started last year, I basically haven't touched all year. And then when I was talking last week about how I wanted to change up my mini skein project from all my swap boxes, I had brought this out saying that I really wanted to work on this and start to incorporate some of those minis that I was getting from my friends into this blanket. So I've been doing that. So as I've been working on my new project, whenever I bring out a new mini from my swap boxes, I will either put it in my stripes blanket first and then in my new project, or vice versa. So this is what I've added so far. Not a ton, but remember, I had to rip my other project completely out and start from scratch, so it's going to take a little time to recover. So the black line is where I ended off from last year, and I think I only had like 2 rows that I had put in previously. So I've done about maybe this row, so maybe 3 or 4 rows I've added with some new yarns. And yeah, this is just a really, really pleasant project. It's super, super wide. It's basically what I did when I started this was make a chain to go across our queen size bed, and then I just went from there. But yeah, it's a really, really easy project. You really don't need to know a lot of crochet to do this. When I picked it back up, I was like, oh, am I going to have to look up the pattern again and try and figure out, you know, the sequence of stitches? Nope, I was able to just jump right in. So it's just such a fun way to use up all your little scraps. And this is going to be my blanket, so I'm going to be able to continue to enjoy it and enjoy the yarns that are going in it. So now for my new project. I was working on before, if you remember, it was the mini skein infinity scarf. And then I decided that I didn't like the thickness of stripes that I was doing. The stripes were also taking too long day to day. I wasn't able to put in minis from each of my 3 boxes into the project at one time, and I really wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to progress through the project just a little bit faster, and I wanted it to look a little more scrappy. So I had one last look through Ravelry, and I found it. I found the project that when I saw it, I was like, yes, that is what I am envisioning it. And it is called the Scarfy Thing, and it's by the dyer behind Hedgehog Fiber Yarns. And what I liked about it the most, I think, it's a free pattern, and it's very much like a recipe. So it's a modular knit, so you're working in sections, and I like that because you're working in sections in different directions, and you can basically work in the yarn that you're using for as long as you want. You can switch out to another yarn when you want. You can go into a different direction when you want. It's very open-ended, and I love that instead of having this big written pattern, it is written, but again, it is more like a recipe. I love that one of the pages was this. It's like this little knitting map, and I was like, yeah, this is what my brain wants right now. I just want to be able to look at this, know which direction I'm going, and then just go from there. So I thought this was really cool. So I think I'm over here. I think I'm only in like section 4 or something like that. But basically what you did is you just would start with a small, so you're starting with a strip. So this is where I am so far, and you can see, I'll show you the other side so that you don't have all the little tags, but you can see that it's much more scrappy, and I like that the colors are in different amounts. So it's not like with the scarf that I was doing, it was the same, like each color was the same width, and I like that this differs a little bit. So I started down here, and then I went up this way, and then I went across this way, and now I'm working up, where am I? I'm working up this way. So I'm going to do a little bit of a stripe here, and then I think I'm picking up, these stitches are on hold over here, and I think I'm going to be working this way. But yeah, I'm just planning on following the map. I am trying to put my minis in the order that I received them. So like these 3 here, this was my first mini day 1 from Jen, my day 1 from Moira, and then I think I did day 2 from Jen, day 2 from Moira, and then I also have this yarn from my stash here, which is basically a gray with little pops of color. And my plan is that if I have 2 yarns that are going to be back to back that I think there's a really stark contrast, or I just don't like how they're going to blend together, I can put this yarn in as kind of a buffer. So like with this one, I didn't really want this muted mauvey purple right next to like this Christmas green and red, so I added a little stripe of the gray. And so anytime I just want kind of a buffer between colors, I'm going to throw that in, and that will also add, I think, a little bit of normality in this crazy, crazy project. So I'm having fun with it so far. I am not going to finish this by the end of the year. This is going to be going into the new year. I am okay with that. My plan is to still join it. So after I do the whole strip, to seam the sides together to make it an infinity scarf. I still think I will wear that more than a scarf or a wrap or a shawl. But I'm just enjoying the process a lot more, because if I'm working on a color that is just, I'm not finding inspiring in that moment, I don't have to work on it until that color is done. I can work, like this blue here, if I was totally sick of this blue, I could stop right now and then take the remainder of that blue and put it into my granny stripe blanket, or I can work on it for a really long time. Like this color I really enjoyed, so I worked on it for quite a bit. I didn't use it all up, and then I would stop and then put the rest in my granny stripe blanket. Or there's been times where I've started with a color in my granny stripe blanket and then put the rest into here. So I'm kind of going back and forth between the two projects, and between the two I am using up each mini that I got in my Advent swap boxes. So yeah, I am really happy with that so far, and hopefully I will continue to enjoy it, because if I, well, okay, I'm not ripping that out, but if I had to, I think that would just totally, that would be it for my Advent project, at least that one. I would probably just keep working on my Cozy Memories blanket and the granny stripe blanket, and that would be it. I have learned though, I think for next year, I'm definitely, Jen and Moira and I have already talked, we're already going to be doing a swap next year. We've already started putting minis aside if we finish projects, but I think I'm going to be putting an extra mini aside, and then again trying to find another Advent swap that I can join to get 3 sets of minis. But I think next year I'm going to use that time just to work on my Granny Stripes blanket. So going into the new year, I've made one of my 2019 Crafty Bingo squares to catch up on the Granny Stripes. And what I mean by that is all the yarns that I have this basket, and I've been putting yarns aside in that from previous projects or just scraps that I want in this blanket, and I'd like to catch up. So I'd like to get all those yarns into the blanket during the year. And then when we come across to next Christmas, my only Advent project is going to be taking my swap yarns and just putting them into the Granny Stripes, because if we do 10 gram minis again, that's enough to do 1 full stripe, and I know I can put in 3 stripes a day without a problem. And so it's just going to be much more relaxing, much easier, less thought, and I don't have to worry about trying to figure out a project that I'm going to use and wear after the fact, because it's just going into my blanket. So that's where I am on that. That's all I've worked on. The only other thing I have for you is a question this week. I know I was planning on having the collection for this week. It was just not that kind of week. Leading up to the holidays, there was just too much to do, so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to let it go another week, and maybe next week I'll have it done. It might not be until the first episode in January. We will see. But for now, I have another little question. And this week, we have really been enjoying watching old favorite holiday movies and finding out new ones. I'm always looking online for new holiday specials. And so I would love to know what kind of holiday specials just bring the warm and fuzzies to you around this season. Do you have any that you remember from your childhood, or even new ones that you have grown to love? I know for me, I remember around the Christmas season, my mom would bring out the VHS that she had pre-taped all the Christmas TV specials on, and we basically had this one tape that just had, you know, special after special after special. And the ones that I really remember and that I have gone on YouTube, and I actually have found quite a bit on YouTube, and I've been able to create a holiday playlist that we can then just stream to our TV. But like the Muppets Family Christmas is one, the Garfield Christmas special is another one, Claymation, Avery and I were watching that one tonight. We found those on YouTube. And then another one is A Wish for Wings That Worked. Have any of you seen that? This one is like, it's a favorite in my family. There are so many quotable lines, and my whole family and my brothers can just quote them at random. Mom, if you're watching this, I know you are shouting, "Oh my Dolores," at this very moment. But that one is one of my favorites. So I found that on YouTube. I might have to link that below, because if you haven't seen it, it's just a really, really cute. It's not too long, but it's just really, really cute. But yeah, we've been watching that one. And then the new ones, like Elf and Love Actually is another one that Dennis and I like to watch around the holidays. And yeah, so I would just love to know what your favorite holiday specials or movies are. And then if there's any that we haven't seen, I might just have to try and seek those out. So yeah, that's the question this week, and that's my knitting progress. And other than that, I've just been working on my Vlogmas videos. If you've been watching those, thank you so much. We are having a lot of fun with those. And yeah, I can't believe that coming up to next week, that's going to be the end of that. But that's okay. We'll figure out something else to do. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and get lots of knitting done. If you are working on last-minute holiday gifts, I wish you speedy, speedy fingers, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.